Hello, good afternoon. October 7, 2013. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is the first class in the fourth week of the semester. So let's get started. So good afternoon and welcome back to today's class. This is the week number 4, okay? Week number 4. Now, I've sent you a teacher's message earlier this morning, very early, 4 a.m. in the morning, because I was lazy, okay, you can say. I have to manage all the work done to make sure you got the message. And I must remind you, this week, on Friday, will be the due date for your learning contract number 1. And, hello, welcome back. You're great. Actually, let me just remind you, because I can see the notebook there. You can actually go to check out a notebook computer from the ICTO desk in the learning common. Okay? So next time, before you come in here, because you're going to be sitting at the table, so I expect that you can go to check out at least one notebook computer per table. The best is 2. Okay? Because we just have 5 tables, so we just have to check out 10 notebooks. And then we can start doing something more. So can you do that? Next time, before you come here, before you come here, go to check out, okay, per table, 2 notebook computer from the ICTO desk in the learning common. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, this is a drop-in, right? This is not, okay, that's okay. Okay, then let me just remind you, this Friday, you need to turn in the learning artifacts for learning contract number 1. Okay, the reminder was sent earlier this morning in the teacher's message for this week. Do you remember what you need to submit? Okay, you need to submit 1 learning journal selected out of the 4 learning journals in the past 4 weeks. Okay, you need to submit the discussion detail between you and your learning partner in this 2 weeks for 2 topics. 1 topic selected by you and the other topic selected by your learning partner. And all the discussions must be conformant with the OIA context. And the journal will also have to go by the OIA rule. And then there is 1 report you need to write. The report must be written based on the topic you selected. That means your peer selected. Okay? So that means if you have done your journal, you're already halfway through your discussion forum. And if you have done your discussion forum, you're already 70% through your report. Okay? The report, you have to pull together what you have done in your journal and what you have done in your discussion forum. So it's basically something in a sequence. Alright? So the unfortunate thing sometimes is you select a topic from week number 1 for your journal, you select a topic from week number 2 for your discussion forum, and you select another topic from week number 3 for your report. Now that, you have to increase the amount of work you have to do. Now, if I were you, I would not do it that way. I would definitely love to do it that way if I want to study more. But if I have to submit something, okay, I will choose the topic consistently so that I do not need to amplify my learning effort. I can manage my learning effort and time well. So do not waste your material in your learning journal when you come to do the discussion forum. And do not waste the work done in your discussion forum when you come to write a report. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? Alright? Because now is the time for you to focus on earning your points allocated to learning contract 1. Okay? You can also earn the point allocated to your online journal towards the end of the semester. Okay? So you can have a long time to finish working out your left-out journal in the past 4 weeks, but you cannot miss what you have to submit by the end of this Friday. Okay? Do you remember that? And if you read my teacher's message for today, you should read something called report writing guideline. The report writing guideline tells you what you should consider when you write your report. It's not difficult. It's basically just saying in my consistent advice to help you to finish your OIA in your discussion. Okay? And then I also remind you, you need to submit other than your report, 2 extra things. One is called your personal proposal, or what you want to do after you have finished studying for the past 4 weeks. What you want to do in the form of a proposal include the following component: the title of your topic. You must give a title. 3 very simple questions you want to explore with that topic. 3 related references you have discovered, which is important for you to explore the topic. And 1 simple paragraph, not more than 200 words, to describe the significance of the topic. That's it, in 1 A4 page. Okay? And then one more thing is the meeting minute. You now have a learning partner, so you should spend some time discussing with your learning partner. For example, the topic you choose to have his or her discussion, and the topic he or she chooses for you to discuss with him or her. Okay? And amount of time required for you to complete the discussion forum. Okay? All these we have to discuss it and need to put it in your meeting minute. And in the specific example for meeting minute I gave you, related to the teacher's message today, you can see 4, I guess, at least 3 meeting minutes for you to follow. Okay? So basically, you have to have some good management of your time. And if you have not done it, you still have time to do it today. Okay? So that's for my reminder. Oh, do you remember I invite you to do something before the end of today? That is, you must decide on your own whether or not you want to keep the final exam or remove the final exam. How many of you have done the survey? How many of you have not done the survey? So you better do it before the end of today, okay? And because so far I've read some responses, I have not seen one which said I want to keep the final exam, okay? So you have to make a decision. And then I read some of your suggestions on how to redistribute 20%. Okay, that's a very consistent theme. Most of you would like to allocate 20% to the classroom participation. I think that's a good idea because, as I mentioned, every class you have a chance to participate. And that is when you're going to earn your score already when you do the participations. So why not do it that way instead of just lumping it in your final exam? It's not good, right? So may I just remind you one more time, finish the survey today. All right, if you have not done it, finish the survey today. It's on week number 3. So now let's get started with today's work. This week is week number 4, day number 7, and day number 8, respectively on October the 7th and October the 10th. And the specific theme is information literacy and competency. We're going to talk and help you to learn the specific things you need to do in information literacy and competency. And then we are in the very last week of inquiry-based learning. That means if you have gone through this 4 weeks reading the materials, this is the last week reading for week number 4, you should have some very good idea on what your approach on IBL is all about. Okay? We want you to have the ability to conduct IBL on your own with your learning partner. But next week, we're going to start a new learning topic called self-regulated learning. Self-regulated learning has to build on top of IBL, true. But on top of IBL, we need to include a very important element of self-management, particularly time management, goal management. Okay? So let us get started with information literacy today. You have a piece of white A4 paper in front of you. If it's not enough, you can manage to use the green piece of paper, fold it into A5, okay? And we get started. If there's not enough white paper, use the green paper. So make sure that in the following 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to watch the video to learn information literacy in a nutshell. Very soon, you should pick up some very important ideas. Now, the 4 of you in the table, or the 3 of you in the table, need to make sure you've got some ideas captured before we come to the discussions, all right? Let's get started with your pen and paper ready.
Most people look at the phrase information literacy. They focus on the word literacy and assume that it has to do with being able to read and write. In actuality, information literacy, sometimes called information fluency, focuses on an individual's relationship with the information available to them in their daily life. Information is abundant and in more formats than most people can utilize, and at some point we all suffer from information overload. Information literacy is critical in allowing individuals to skillfully and knowledgeably take advantage of this new environment in their personal, academic, and professional lives. In this tutorial, the basic concepts of information literacy will be explored, especially as they pertain to students in higher education. The term information literacy was coined in 1974 by Paul Zurkowski, who noted that those who were information literate were able to mold information sources in order to find solutions to problems. 15 years later, a definition was created that is still in use by many educators and academic organizations today. The ALA's Presidential Committee on Information Literacy distinguished those qualities that make one information literate, stating that a person must be able to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. Information literacy applies to everyone, both inside and outside academia. It's about learning the skills to understand and navigate this new information world encountered on a daily basis. If one can utilize these skills and effectively use information, they have fulfilled the primary goal of becoming lifelong learners. Those who have learned how to learn, who can always find the information needed for any task or decision at hand. Although it applies to everyone, information literacy will vary according to the individual. An undergrad will use very different skills from someone already in a career, or those skills used in one's personal life. We will look briefly at information literacy as it pertains to higher education. In 2000, the Association of College and Research Libraries developed a set of 5 standards, performance indicators, and outcomes to define the information literate student. These standards touch upon 5 major components of information literacy: need, access, evaluation, use, and ethics. The first standard focuses on determining the need for information and recognizing what types and how much information are required. This includes being able to define the need, such as in a thesis statement. It's knowing what resources are available for the particular subject and choosing those that will be the most effective. This standard discusses recognizing the feasibility of conducting certain research while also coordinating a realistic timeline. The student should be willing to reevaluate and clarify their information needs throughout this process. The second standard focuses on accessing information. It may seem that students would be adept at this because of the abundance of information and easy-to-use search tools. However, this standard is really about getting the best information and not necessarily the most or fastest. Students must be aware of the research methods used in the particular subject field. They need to apply effective search strategies with appropriate tools to then access this information. Although there are always exceptions, it is important for them to try to use a variety of methods and systems instead of relying on a single research tool like Google, and they must be willing to refine their search strategies as needed. Finally, it is crucial that once found, students can manage these resources, being able to extract and organize the pertinent material so that it can be easily accessed while working on their final product. The third standard focuses on 2 types of evaluation. First, students need to evaluate sources to make sure they are legitimate and authoritative, especially in an environment where creating and distributing information can be done by practically anyone. It's also critical that students recognize bias, prejudice, deception, and manipulation within sources. Second, students need to evaluate the information within their source. This requires them to be able to understand the material, extract the main ideas, and know what parts would be best utilized in the final product. They should be able to take this information and synthesize it into their new ideas and concepts that can then be compared to prior knowledge, allowing them to test their ideas and theories. It is also important for students to investigate different viewpoints. They need to be willing to discuss their findings and research with other individuals and practitioners. Finally, based on the information gathered, students need to evaluate their strategies to determine if modifications will be required to get better or more applicable resources. Standard 4 is about using this newly evaluated information to create a product such as a research paper. In general, this standard focuses on being able to cohesively and adeptly incorporate and utilize the new and prior information and effectively present it in a way that is understandable and clearly supports the main thesis. Finally, according to Standard 5, students need to be aware of the ethics of information. This does not mean students simply need to cite their sources to avoid plagiarism, although this is an important point. Students need to be aware of topics that can affect their research in daily life, such as privacy and security, copyright, intellectual freedom, fair use, censorship, and the freedom of speech. They must understand and follow the laws and regulations surrounding information. They then need to acknowledge information sources using appropriate documentation style and citing accurately and as needed. These standards may seem overwhelming to incorporate into a single course. However, the development of an information literate student takes place over their entire academic career and will continue long after. It's up to the instructor to decide what standards apply and should be taught within their course. Eventually, all the standards will come together. The information literate student is not the creation of any single individual. He or she has been molded by a wide variety of people, including professors and librarians. Please consult the Rice Library Information Literacy LibGuide. This guide will provide you with a full list of ACRL standards, performance indicators, and outcomes with corresponding sample activities. It also provides additional links and resources to make understanding and incorporating IELTS skills easier. Please ask the reference librarians at Rice Library about what you can do to make information literacy a more prevalent part of your classes.
Okay, this is just around 5 to 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 17 seconds introductions on IL, information literacy. So what exactly is information literacy? If I characterized you as an information literate person, what does it mean? It means you know you have a need for information because you have to find information. And then you have to get access to a certain amount of information. But there's so much information out there when you exercise the Googles or where the search engine to get all your expected information. So you must have the ability to evaluate the information you got from the internet. Evaluate is basically a process of filtering all those unneeded information. But when you use information, what do you need to exercise? Ethics. We come back to the very important questions that we learned last week. What does it mean by exercising ethics when you use information? Give credit to your source. Okay? You can just take it from someone else and use it as if it is your own. You must cite your source. Give credit. Oh, I got it from who and who. I got it from where. And finally, when you have done all of these, you need to use it properly. So, what are the 5 stages of information literacy? Need, access, evaluate, use, ethics. Now, given this introduction, I want you to see that you can add on top of these basic ideas to come up with something on your table, 5 minutes, and even more than that, 5 minutes in your table. You're free to talk now. Please go ahead. Get information from your table's partner. You need to have to understand the need, the access. Everybody in your table, you need to access them because you have a need for information. And then you need to evaluate the information you collect from the members of your table. And then you have to use them. And then you have to sign them to make sure you give credit to the table member as to what is it. Very good. I see at least one computer on this free table. Oh, you might have to check out one computer next time on the ICT desk. The learning tablet, yes. Next step. Because it's difficult to manipulate this phone. Okay, yes, good. Go ahead, for this time, it's good enough. Very good. 5 minutes. And then I'm going to give you a chance to tell us what you discovered. Yes. This is an important 5 minutes for my students on each table to put together the information they personally grabbed hold of after watching some video, and then they try to synthesize them as a table of conclusions or at least some interpretations of what information literacy is based on their process understanding. So let's try to see how they do it. During very active discussions on this topic. Very good. So as we're trying to write down your discussions on information literacy, let's get started with another key theme on information literacy. So may I have your attention to watch the screen now? This is another key theme on information literacy.
Hi, I'm Melissa Goldstein, and I'm Instruction and Assessment Coordinator at University of Wyoming Libraries. The general education program at University of Wyoming includes an information literacy requirement, so students must complete a class with an information literacy designation in order to graduate. Most majors have an information literacy element embedded in a course, but not all do. The University of Wyoming Library offers 2 classes to fulfill the requirement for students in majors without an information literacy class and for transfer students, 1 online and 1 face-to-face. Library 3020, Managing and Navigating the World of Information, is the face-to-face course offered by the library. I revised the course this year to involve students more substantially in the learning process. Putting students in control of their own learning helps to prepare them for self-directed, lifelong learning, which is a major goal of information literacy instruction. There are several curricular choices I've made to facilitate self-directed learning. One is to put all course materials on a wiki which students have the authority to edit. This includes the syllabus, assignment descriptions, midterm questions, and other activities that we complete in class or as homework. The focus of the course is a research project. Students worked together to choose a class research topic, which this semester was food costs, and then we created a class research plan, starting with the software BubbleUs, which you can see here as our sort of research web. We added to the web in class, and then the students went away and came up with more ideas to add to our research web. Students have also selected course readings, and they created the exam questions for the midterm. Still to come in class, students will collaborate on rubrics for the research paper and presentation, and they'll all present their research findings to the class as we create a group understanding of our broad research topic. The major challenge in this type of student-led learning is the need for flexibility. I find that I can only plan about a week in advance as students direct the direction of the course and we figure out where we're going to go. It requires a great deal of flexibility from students as well and a willingness to learn from the process. The benefits are that we learn from our failures. When something doesn't work, we talk about it in class and talk about how it could be improved. Hopefully, students are having a more authentic learning process as they are directing their own path of research and learning things as they need to know them. So hopefully, I'm meeting them at their point of need as they are going through the process. There's also the potential for greater transferability as students move from this class to other research classes. Hopefully they're taking what they learned in this more authentic and self-directed way and applying it to other situations. Here are some suggested readings on the topic of self-regulated learning and information literacy. And I'd be happy to continue this conversation with anyone who's interested. Please feel free to email me or give me a call.
So that is the end of this about 3 minutes video on information literacy. Now, on top of what you have gathered in the first video, this video introduced to you the theme of self-directed learning as well as self-regulated learning. So, and the specific component of that is an important element of general education program at the University of Wyoming. Okay? Now, I would like to try to put together this extra amount of information into your discussion, and then I'm going to start with the table over there and to see how you're going to make sense of information literacy. All right? 3 minutes more. Okay, now here we go. Let's start with the first tables discussion. Can you tell us something more about your tables versions of information literacy? Albert, Anna, and the other two. Oh, yes. Are you standing up, Albert? Or is that someone else? Okay, thank you, Albert. So, what do you make of information literacy? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Albert.
Thank you.
Okay, so we think information literacy is an information overload.
Oh.
It teaches us to use effective information
Okay.
both inside and out of campus.
Okay.
It also leads us to lifelong learning.
Oh, that's
In
good.
information literacy, it can be divided into 5: need, access, evaluate, ethics, and use,
Okay.
which helps us to understand more. So in need, it helps us to, we see if the sources is available, and it determines how much information we need. And for access on a certain amount of information that helps us extract, record, and helps us choose the best access possible. And after accessing the information, we evaluate them, we filter out what's needed and what is not, to make sure it is legitimate. And lastly, to summarize information and reuse old knowledge and use them in our daily life. And for ethics, ethics is we have to, in order to respect one another and respect the sources, we have to credit them and cite them in our presentations or other stuff. Afterwards, we use the information properly and make it understandable for others to use.
That's very good.
Thank you.
Actually, I very much appreciate Albert's beginning line that information literacy is to handle information overload. Otherwise, we have too much information to digest. Thank you, Albert. Any additional comments from your table members?
No.
I see they are working very hard to show you the screen.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, could you please pass the microphone to one table of your choice? Thank you. All right. So, how about we introduce yourself?
My name is Lexi.
Lexi, thank you.
And we think that information we need to make sure the access, and we need to know the information what really important to need or what can improve our knowledge.
Okay.
And when we use this knowledge, we need to find that instead of copyright or the first hand, we need to make sure that is not. We did not copy the writer.
Yeah.
We need to create a new resource
Okay.
with our knowledge.
Thank you. So definitely we need to use some credible sources, right? We cannot just use any source that presumably is true.
That's finished.
Okay, thank you, Lexi. Any table of your choice? All right, thank you. So we have father's table. Yes. Yes. Help us to know who you are. Who you are. Okay, Josh, thanks. Yes, just push the mic on. Yes, here we go.
Information literacy is the set of skills needed to find, retrieve, analyze, and use information.
Okay.
Students need information literacy because we want to remove the obstacles which are caused by lack of understanding of the research process, so students can use information literacy to solve problems.
Okay.
There are 5 points of information literacy below. First, need.
Okay.
Students
we need information, right? We need it for
students
some purpose.
determine the nature of information need.
Okay. Access, yes.
Students access this information effectively.
Yeah.
For example, choose the best method and system.
Okay.
Evaluate information and its scores critically.
Okay.
Use information effectively.
Okay.
Effects. Understand economic, legal, and social issues. That's all.
Okay, so you basically give us the 5 important steps of information literacy introduced by the first video. Thank you very much. Next. Okay, thank you.
My name is Sophie.
Sophie, thank you, Sophie.
Information literacy is called information fluency.
All
It
right.
applies to everyone and emphasizes on developing lifelong learners. And there are different information literacy skill levels for different people. And it includes 5 aspects. The first is the need.
Okay, need.
Information literacy students determine the nature and the extent of the information needed. And the second is access. Students access to information
Access, yes.
effectively and efficiently.
Yes.
And the third aspect is evaluation. It asks students to recognize prejudice and understand new idea and use it in a new way. And the fourth aspect is the use. I guess it's about using information effectively. And the fifth aspect is ethics. It requires students to use information ethically and legally. And that is the understanding of our group.
That's very good. You have a very solid basis of the IL. Very good. Could you please pass the last table? Right here. Yes, thank you very much. Information literacy.
My name is Sharita.
Hi.
Hi. We think information literacy is according to individual. Just now I asked seven things. It can improve your personal knowledge. Information literacy also applies to everyone. There are some things that we think is about information literacy. First, think about what you should need or you really want or you really need. Then and find some platforms to
That's some methods to solve the problem?
Oh yeah, to solve the problem, then evaluate, find the value of the information, then use the information effectively. Last is use the information
Ethically.
because
You come up with the information from the sources.
Don't steal anything in the internet just like this. Yeah.
Well, I think you did a very good job. Now, we thank you very much, Alito.
You're welcome.
Now, let's come to the very important part, because we got the first overview of information literacy introduced to you through two very short videos. Oftentimes, when we talk about information literacy, is when you have to finish a particular project. For example, in this coming Friday, you're going to submit something for learning contract number 1. So you need to decide what to submit. Basically, we know what to submit, but we need to decide what topic to write about. And then we need to fill up with the O, observation, I, interpretation, and the A, the applications. So what I'm going to discuss with you in the following information literacy lessons is called Project Information Literacy. We're going to walk through something very interesting. Okay, when we come to this, you see there are 5 episodes, okay, called PIL, Project Information Literacy. Now each one of these is going to help us to understand one aspect of where we can find information, in what ways, under what circumstances. So I want you to get ready, because we have 5 parts here. At the end of the 5 parts, it could probably take about 10 to 15 minutes. So everyone get ready to capture what you can. So the first part is called Wikipedia. It's not big difficult. Let's go to it, okay?
It sounds so bad, but the first place to go for information is Wikipedia.
But I've had a professor say you may not go to Wikipedia.
But I do anyways. Not cited, of course.
Me too. I don't care if it's peer-reviewed or not. I just want to figure something out that I know nothing about. I mean, nothing.
Give me what? I gotta know what it is before I can go ask someone else about it, or to find out about it. Just makes sense.
Wikipedia is awesome. It's got good English, no fluff, it's written like I can understand it. Gives me links to other stuff too. Takes me to the real stuff I need.
Sometimes when I get to the serious research, I think back and say, I thought Wikipedia said this though, but this source is disclaiming it here. That's when it gets interesting for me.
Yet, not that Wikipedia gives any real surefire evidence. Just makes me feel more comfortable, confident, ready to go on. Wikipedia is my first go-to place, but certainly not my last.
So here we go. The idea before I give you the second video. What have you learned from this very short video? Okay? What are the main ideas of learning from this video? It's already over because these are just acknowledgements, okay? So thank you notes. So you got 2 to 3 minutes time to capture your ideas in this very simple video. Of course, Wikipedia, okay? We're talking about Wikipedia in the context of project information literacy. articles, and they talk about the good things about Wikipedia and the bad things about Wikipedia and how they use how the project. Yeah, it's something very useful. How do you use Wikipedia? Is it a reliable information? When students use Wikipedia, how did they use it? Do they give citations or just get the information out or whatever it is? You just have 3 minutes time all together. Now it's done in the very last 1.5 minutes. Very useful information, so how can you learn it? So you need to get something down on a piece of paper. Wikipedia. Of course, Wikipedia is a great source of information. We love to go to Wikipedia whenever we want to find something, right? It's already there. It's an encyclopedia online. It's free of charge. It's convenient. What's the problem with that sometimes? And of course, we are talking about the development of Wikipedia throughout the past 10, 15 years. Today, very much advanced instead of just like Wikipedia in the very beginning. So most of the problems that there might have been gone. So Wikipedia, the first item in project information literacy. What have you learned? Whenever you want to find some important information, where should you go? Wikipedia. When you get there, what should you do? Okay? Come back to the need, access, evaluate, use, and ethics. Ready? Second episode. Remember the keyword here, procrastination. Procrastination.
Do I procrastinate? Sure I do. Sometimes I just get too overloaded with too much information coming at me. Learn this, write this, turn this in.
I don't mean to wait until the last minute, but I work 2 different jobs and have so little time.
I know I can always find something online, even at the last minute.
I can't always be studying. I mean, college is about having some fun, even if it's only a little bit.
At 2 a.m. the night before it's due, when I've got all the stuff I need and I start writing like crazy, it just comes to me. That's when I'm creative.
Maybe I'll see something on the bus, a billboard, a newspaper, a book someone has reviewed, and it gives me an idea for my paper.
With all the work in other classes, I just prioritize what to do from week to week and go from there.
I wait and I wait for the professor to say something. Give me some more guidance about what they expect.
Sometimes I delay working on school stuff because, well, I'm just feeling lazy, just too tired to do much of anything.
It's supposed to be a classic development. You're given 10 days to do something, they're not going to do anything until the 8th day. And instead of using 8 days to do something, we're making 2 days. And instead of using all the 2 days to do something, we use 1.5 days searching for information. And we use 1.5 day write. And then we have no ideas and we just scratch our head just hours before it's due. That is procrastination. Okay? Now, think a little bit more about this and try to discuss it using 3 more minutes. Procrastination. You must have some experience about it. And it's an important element in project information literacy, okay? It's no kidding. As a professor, we have to tell you that this is because you have to learn this process. Now that they give you all the secrets, and if you given all those secrets as assessors to fall into this kind of trap, that you have to learn how to be inoculated with, we say. That's very good. I see you're organized, get set for your discussions now. It's very important that I show my students the ideas of project information literacy, studying on where they find information in Wikipedia. The second thing is the normal problem they encounter is the personal problem, procrastinations. And of course, the result of that is frustrations. We're going to show them next video. And let's see how they're going to make sense of it first. So how often have you procrastinated when it comes to your homework assignment and projects, okay? Sometimes we don't want to do that. We have a tendency to put things off, and we just have to learn how to manage that tendency in productivity. All right, now let's go to the result of your procrastination. So I can see some very interesting remarks. I'm frustrated because I don't know where to start. Frustrated, I can't find information.
What's frustrating about conducting research is when I type in keywords and I get a whole bunch of results, which sounds good, but so much of what's there is insanely irrelevant.
Just getting started on a research assignment is the most difficult part of the research process for me.
It's not knowing the right words to use when I search. Let's see, I'll call my topic this, so now, what does someone else call it who may have published something about it?
I always have trouble narrowing down a topic for the assignment.
Finding statistics is hard. You're looking for some specific statistics, and you have to go through a million articles, and then you may never find something you can use.
A lot of the time, it's a case of information overload. The more I know, the less I realize that I know. It can be kind of depressing.
I never can find that perfect source, the one I know I really want, so I eventually settle. I say this isn't perfect, it's not what I really wanted to write about, but it will work, so I'll go with it.
What's frustrating is when I look on the library shelves and I find some stuff, but it turns out to be 10 or 20 years old. Gee, that's hardly what can be called up to date. I can't use this stuff.
It's not so much doing the research part of the assignment that's difficult, it's actually writing the paper.
What's the research process supposed to be about anyway? Is there some right way I'm supposed to do it? I mean, I always feel like I've got to create some new system each time.
The frustrations, the limitations, they remind me we're still living in the early days of the internet. There's information out there that should be readily accessible that we assume is. And it is not, though. That's just the way it is.
What the important resource that is located in a university, in any university, is the library. In the library, they should have some very excellent reference helper to help us how to navigate and look for information. And that will help us to reduce the amount of frustrations we have. But what do you make of this short video? The key points. Okay, you have 3 minutes to do that. The key points of this video, letting you know frustrations is improve. Now it's your turn to find out. You have 3 minutes. Frustrations, in what sense? What triggered these frustrations? How can we prevent them? Or how can we overcome them? Alright, so these are some of the questions you need to ask. We often say the secret to success, improve what? Secret to success, improve what? We don't talk about information literacy. We act on what is required in the context of information literacy. Okay? So, lessons today is just to give you a quick overview on the context, on the process, on some of the pitfalls you need to avoid. Yeah. Now remember, what you put down in your piece of paper is very important. Is those information you go put it online in your peer discussion forum, and also in your public discussion forum. Is the beginning of your discussions with your learning partner. If you happen to choose to discuss these topics, because this is located in week number 4, okay? We are walking into the 4th common module, okay? So starting next week, we're going back to information security and privacy, the core topics of the course, all right? But we need those basic modules to help us go through those important topics. So you have 2 more minutes. Keep track of the key terms. Wikipedia. Procrastination. Frustrations. What next? Okay, what next? If you look at my screen, you know, we need strategies. Strategies. Yes. Very good. I see you're filling up your recorded discussion cheat sheet, all right? We've got a lot of very interesting information captured. And we got your material to start your discussion. So are you ready for the solutions? In order to carry out your project, information literacy, number 4, the secret to your success, strategies. Okay, let's go.
want to know the truth. By the time you get to college, no one says to you, well, this is the efficient way to do research. Find information. You do this on this day and at this point. Then you have to come back to it later on. This saves time. You have to come up with some method to get through.
I start by figuring out what the question is. What does the professor want? Then I look up sources, I take some notes, then I write the paper. I pretty much have it down.
When I need some background and to get started on an assignment, Wikipedia is where I go.
I might ask an instructor about going in a certain direction. For me, this keeps the paper from going off in a different tangent. Who knows? Might lead to a better grade, too.
Depending on how big the paper is determines whether I need to go to the library or not. If I have 2 months, sure, I'll go to the library instead of relying on internet stuff.
Writing on a different topic may mean pulling from some different sources. Sometimes I have life experiences or examples I want to weave into the paper too.
Something's really tough to answer, like trying to think of the word to use or how to narrow something down. I might ask someone for help.
After I look at the course readings, then I simply look up the citations on JSTOR. It gets me through.
I see research as involving the same steps, the same sources each time. I always say, if it works, then why change it?
to understand the secret to the success. I give you keyword strategies. But it is only towards the end of this video, they have given you some very important data or findings concerning students' strategies to do a project information literacy work. What are those findings telling you? Have you observed the very last two sentences? This is something very interesting. If you forgot, let me tell you. And then you try to discuss among yourself in 2 minutes. Normally, students will only use a few very comfortable methods to find information they believe they need. Normally, they go to the library, for example, look up books in the category. And when they discover a book which could be useful, they look up chapters. And when they discover a chapter that could be useful, they look up end of chapter questions. And hopefully they could find some answer. But this is one example. Towards the end of this video, they tell you that only a small set of methods are actually being practiced by students to discover the information. And those methods are often close at hand, tried, and believed to be effective. But these really the case. I guess the key point here is you need to come up with your interpretation of this final data and check it out with your own experience. Of course, if you're only the first semester in college, you may not have other experience to check it for. Then you look back to your secondary school years, or you look to some of your experience in doing other courses. How often, please ask yourself, you have to carry out information literacy work in a very authentic manner in order to get a piece of job done. Or normally, when you were sent home with a piece of homework, You often get it done without going to the library or flipping any books. Okay? How often have you done information literacy activities such as discover the need, access related information, evaluate those information, filter out something useful, use them in your work, and give credit to your sources. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? Now, you need to check it out with your own experience, because it's very important. If you do not practice these stages of IL activity often enough, you do not consider them important at all, because you don't need them at all to get the job done. What does it mean? Since our time is running out, allow me to go over the last stage. It's the context problem. It's the context problem. Now, hope you got something out of this. What I am after.
Say you have to write a paper and the topic just seems to come out of the blue. What do? Me? I'll go to Google or use a library database, just to fish around for background.
I'm always looking for the common knowledge stuff, the most basic things that people all agree to write about something, especially when you're writing a research paper. It's in 5 different sources and it must be true.
I just feel like I have no idea what goes on in the world. I'm in a bubble on this campus. How can I write a paper about some news event? Where do I get some background? I'm lost.
I'm a history major, and I'm writing my thesis about military dictatorships in the Southern Cone. Right off the bat, I'm going to need to expand my vocabulary about the area a lot more in order to get anywhere I need to go.
Here's a question I had. Are there any positive aspects to having breast cancer over other kinds of cancer? How do you do a search for that? What search terms do you even use to begin?
I'm in my first business course on this campus. It's tough enough to just learn all the basic terms in order to do some research for an assignment. The language of business should be a course in itself.
I'm always trying to gauge what the professor knows and the best things that they think I should use for research. I know they know specific journals to use, and often they have books and journals right there.
So my professor told us that he went to this medieval neighborhood in Italy as part of his research. There's a huge gap between the way professors do research and the way I do.
When you don't figure out what the professor wants in a paper, you get punished, and the punishment is a bad grade. Boy, you learned that lesson quick.
So you find some book in the library on a theory that would be great to use. Then you notice the book is from the 1950s. You know more has been uncovered since then, but there's nothing else on the shelf. Where do you look next?
I'm an history major. I need primary sources for my thesis. I'm writing about an event that happened in the 1500s. I can't travel everywhere in search of some ancient old text. It's all part of the hunt for information. How do you find the good stuff with all that's out there and not out there too?
you must understand that the reasons why in this week, week number 4, we come to this topic called information literacy. Partly because you have to turn in something by the end of the week. And mostly important is that when you turn in that something that seems to be very simple, like the journal, remember, one of the requirements is the OIA, observation, interpretations, and application. In order to support your data or findings there, you need to discover relevant sources. Okay? For each topic you chose to encompass in your journal, you must discover at least 3 relevant sources to support it. The good news is, if you look closely on the reading list for each week, I have already given you more than 3. The bad news is you must exercise some scrutiny reading them to choose which one could be mostly associated with the topic that you are targeting. In the process of doing that choosing, verifying, checking, you're actually going through an information literacy learning cycle. Okay? So the reason why I give you, say, 5 to 10 topics per cluster and invite you to choose one topic under each cluster is to make sure each one of you, in the process of your choosing, you have a chance to look up related references. What does it mean by looking up related references? That means you have a chance to evaluate whether those informations are closely related together to support your argument. Okay? And then, of course, you have to access them. I give you all the access in the internet. Of course, you need to evaluate them, and then you need to use them in your journal, in your peer-based discussion, and then you need to give sources the credit where you got this information. So basically, this is very important because after this week, you still have to use the same set of skills in your second learning contract. This is self-regulated learning, which is a little bit more than inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning will emphasize on asking the right questions. And when you do information literacy activity, you have to ask a lot of right questions. And your learning partner needs to help you to sharpen your questions. And that's the reasons why it's very important to come to information literacy this week. Now, my dear students, you have to understand that in this course, we have some basic modules to go through. And this is the end of the 4 basic modules, week number 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in class, we do not have all the time you need in order to cover those topics. We can't do that because we just have 1.5 hours each time. But through this website, I put all the necessary information here for you to learn it at home at any time you want, including the class video, my discussions here. So it's your responsibility to go through those related resources on the website. If you count the number of minutes, it's not more than 2 hours per week, because those very short YouTube video, you can go through them. The only important element that might take up a little more of the time is the reading per week. For example, you should have gone through readings for week number 1, reading for week number 2, reading for week number 3, and this is week number 4. Now, if you have done your reading before you come here, you should have learned something basic about a key topic we have to talk about on each class. So, may I just invite you, while you're doing your assignment this week, okay? You need to turn in your assignment this week. When you click on submission, you know that this is artifacts for learning contract number 1. These are the artifacts you need to submit, and here the report guidelines, and these are the meeting minutes. And then you have some very specific thing you can check on. We are down to week number 4. So if you look at these, we have come to the very last week for learning contract number 1. And you look back, you should have done at the end of this week 4 journal. What you need to do is copy the related journal, sharpen a little bit through the OIA framework, and then get ready for your submission. The submission links will be ready starting on Wednesday, okay? The submission link for you to submit each one of these items will be ready starting on Wednesday at the very end, right before the final exam block. You can see the submission link for learning contract 1. Basically, you have 5 submission links: journal, discussion detail, report, proposal, meeting minute. Okay? So for each one, you need to individually submit it. As I told you, for your discussion detail, altogether in a pair you have 2 o'clock to discuss. But for you to submit discussion detail, you just need to submit the discussion detail related to your topic. So A and B in one pair, A has one topic, B has one topic. A just needs to submit A's topic without B's topic, and B has to submit B's topic without A's topic. But when you write a report, it has to be the combinations of the 2 topics. Basically, you have sets of OIA, and then you have to put them together. And then when you look at the report format here, we have the report format, the guidelines. Your report needs to include the following things in your Microsoft Word. You click on those things and you see what is included, okay? So this is what I would like to tell you and remind you. And make sure you come to the teacher's message for this week. Okay, teacher's message for this week is right here. This is the teacher's message for this week. Here you have your pair identity and your members, except for Joyce. At the end of the class, Joyce, at the end of the class, you might want to join one pair. Let me know after that which pair are they. Your pair number? Which pair? Pair 7. Second one? The second one, pair 02, right? 02. So I've added you in pair 02, so the 3 of you can carry on the conversation. So allow me to take attendance for today and then you can go, all right? Alvin? Yes. Anna? Yes. Horace? No. Lexi? Yes. Longhorn? Not here? Football. Oh, football. Yes. Football. Right. Catherine? Thank you. Fancy? Yes. Hin? Are you here, Hin? Thank you. Tom? Thank you. Charlie's, thank you. Name now, thank you. Thank you. Lena, thank you. Patty, thank you. Garnet, thank you. Sophie, thank you. Chalita, thank you. Wally, thank you. Joyce, yes. Magnolia, thank you. And then Chef Roque. It's not yet there, right? It's not yet. Okay. Thank you very much. Now make sure when you come back on Thursday is one more day before you submit your work. And then the submission link will be ready on Wednesday. Okay? Thank you very much for coming. I'd love to see you going on with your discussions. So that's it for today's class, CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy, of October the 7th, 2013.